Hi, everyone. Before we begin today's story, I just want to take a moment to thank the author, Jiha4421, for allowing me to narrate this story on my channel. He's the same author who wrote the story, There's a Road in My Town and Nobody Knows Where It Goes. You can find a link to that story in the description down below. And if you enjoy what you hear, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You know you want to. You know you want to. You desire to. That is what you're here for. So, with all of that being said, let's begin today's story. I'm submitting this case file because I thought it was interesting and wanted to get some additional opinions. As of now, 8 years later, it has been officially ruled as an accidental suicide, but many in my department still consider it unsolved. Please note that due to some of the details in this report, discretion should be exercised. The report is one of the more disturbing ones on file. Here's the case file that we have so nicknamed the Clandestine Sisters due to the contents found in the victim's apartment. Case file 12-6-000768. Synopsis. A man was found in the alley on 15th Street in a pool of his own blood. Detective noticed large cuts on face and missing parts of face and extremities. Details outlined in Coroner's report. Current cause of death unknown, but likely hysteria based on self-mutilation. Victim's description: single male, early 30s, middle class. Victim was unemployed but had several months of savings in account. Victim had no outstanding debt, no history of mental health issues, and held a degree in political science. High school, college, and name of victim have been left out of respect for victim. Victim did not have a wallet on him when discovered, but cash and license was in pocket, ruling out robbery. Evidence: victim had no weapons on him, had no prior arrests, had no mental health issues. Victim's contacts were searched for possible perpetrators and anyone with a motive. None found. No site named Dreamland that fit the description was ever discovered. Only piece of evidence with any clue of what may have occurred was a journal found in subject's apartment, here presented as is with the occasional officer note. April 6, 2012. I decided to get a journal. People online think it'll help, but I don't. I did it anyways because I feel I've got something to get off my chest. I'm lonely. I'm starting to get terrified of being alone all the time. I'm in my early 30s, and it's been nearly 10 years since I've been with anyone. I go to bars, I go to clubs, yet surrounded by hundreds, I still feel alone. I go home alone, to the same dinners, reading the same papers, drinking at the same bar. Everything is the same. Is this how I'll spend my 60s? I spent last night thinking that I should get out more, and, well, I did. I did something that I never really thought that I'd ever do. I don't know why. I didn't feel particularly worse last night, and this act was perfectly out of character. I think it was just a matter of opportunity. I was walking home along 15th Street when I came across a small alleyway. It was the same alley I had crossed many nights now, but I noticed something I had somehow missed many times before. There was a door on the side of the alley and a sign above it in neon with flashing lights. Dreamland, it read. I was surprised by the fact that I'd never seen this place before, so I decided to check it out. I figured it to be a club of some kind, and, well, it was Friday, and I had been drinking, and it surely beat sitting in my apartment until sleep came around, just to wait for the next day of monotony. I went in and was met with a small room with a door and a front desk. There was an older gentleman dressed in a nice suit sitting behind a counter. There was some sort of classical music playing, which I found a bit odd for a club, but I was drunk and just wanted to have fun. He greeted me, and I began to pull out my ID and a $20 bill to pay for cover charge, but he shook his head. "That won't be necessary. You'll pay when you leave." His voice was soft and fragile, and it looked as if he was pushing past 80. I didn't question it. I had too much booze for that. He opened the door, and I stepped inside. I stepped into a short hallway with rooms along each wall, and I was beginning to suspect that what I had just accidentally stepped into. It wasn't a regular dance club with a dance floor. No, along this hallway were doors, some open, some closed, with women standing in front of the doors in erotic underwear. I had somehow, in the middle of downtown, walked into a brothel. Two arms hooked in with mine, and before I could move back, I heard two voices speak simultaneously in my ears. "Hello, handsome." Two women, tall, pale, and with beautiful dark eyes, stood by my side, each looking to be about 25 years old. The taller of the two looked down on me, her smile wide and teeth perfect. Hell, everything about her was perfect. Yet I was starting to feel sick, and I began to think that I really shouldn't be in here. This was a mistake, and this was flat out illegal, if this place really was what I thought it was. Truthfully, I was ready to leave then and there. Another voice in my head told me otherwise. I had been along for so long, perhaps I wouldn't have minded staying for just a little. Besides, if I still felt uncomfortable, I could just leave. I would leave before anything happened. That's for damn sure. "Right this way," the taller of the two said in a smooth and soft voice. She placed her hand on my back, rubbing it softly as the three of us started to walk forward. At the end of the hall, there was a small room on the left, and as we stepped in, the door behind us was shut. The room only had a single bed, a dim purple light, and a small closet in the corner. The room was painted lazily with black walls and small flames painted along where the tile and wall met. Music played low, and it was a song I had never heard, couldn't recognize it. It sounded old, almost like classical, similar to the music in the lobby. Odd music choice, but it was the least on my mind at the time. My heart was beginning to pump wildly, and my skin was beginning to elicit goosebumps. "Look, to be honest, I think I'm in the wrong building. I don't think—" The girls stepped into the center of the room, their eyes looking down at me. "I assure you," the taller of the two started. "You're in the right place," the shorter finished. They had very similar voices, and even their stature was almost exactly the same. Their skin radiated off the low purple light, and their dark eyes now seemed almost pitch black in this low light. The way they spoke was bewildering, but it seemed that they were very well rehearsed and comfortable. They had no doubt done this many times, perhaps several times tonight. The two moved towards the bed, motioning for me to join them. They each placed their hand on my chest, and started to massage my back. I can't deny it felt good. "What's your names?" I asked. "Call us the Clandestine Sisters," they said, their voices in near perfect harmony. "You don't have names of your own?" They giggled, then the taller one spoke firmly. "No." The massage on my back was beginning to entrance me. Whatever feeling I had of leaving was beginning to become harder and harder to commit to. To be honest, I'm not sure when it was the last time that someone had put their hands on me like this. "So what now?" I asked. The taller one spoke as she placed her long fingers under my shirt, beginning to unbutton with her free hand. "Whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever you desire the most, you can have it. And after it's done, you pay us." They both giggled again, their smiles wide and hypnotizing. I let out a small laugh. For a random Friday encounter, this was great. "I don't have a lot of money," I said, beginning to lay back. At this, they giggled for the third time. "We don't want much. You'll have enough, we promise." I told them what I wanted. They were more than happy to oblige. Afterwards, as I was dressing, the tall one stood up and spoke. "Now it's our turn." The shorter one piped up, her dark eyes glistening in the dim light of the room. "You give us what we want." I nodded, trying to sound sly. "Oh, yeah? And what is that?" "Your wallet." I stopped as I was buttoning my shirt. "My wallet?" They nodded their heads slowly. It was a strange request, and I sat still, eyeing them, the neon light flashing off of their skin, causing them to almost glow. They were the only things bright in the room, their pale skin a thick contrast to everything around us. This was the moment I began to feel dirty, like I had committed a horrendous sin. I began shaking, my mind racing, and thinking about what I had just done. I was in a brothel, and I knew that I shouldn't have been in here, near the side of an alley, and was about to get robbed, where no one would ever help me. "Look, I don't want any trouble. I can pay." "Not your cash, not your identity. We just want your wallet." I processed what they said before shaking my head in confusion. Why?" My voice was hesitant. I pulled it out, my hand shaking as I began to remove the cash and the cards from it. "It looks nice, like it was a gift from someone special." "Are we special to you?" "It was a gift from my last relationship," I said, as I pulled out my driver's license. A picture slipped out with it. I had momentarily forgot that it was in there, and after picking it up, I was greeted with a smiling face with blue eyes. My heart sank. It was the same face that I had loved and lost all those years ago. The same woman who had bought me the wallet years ago as a gift. I had at one point been in love with her. "We want that too," the taller sister said. "Why are you so hesitant?" The shorter one said. "You don't miss her? You don't love her? Or is there a problem?" Their voice was slightly deeper this time, and their smiles had turned into a look of dissatisfaction. No, it's just..." I looked at the photograph one last time. The woman in the picture had a warm smile, and the truth is that I did miss her every day. I still thought about the life that we could have had, about the night the accident took her life. I promised her I'd keep the wallet she gave me and keep a token of her memory with me everywhere I went. The shorter sister held out her hand, and I didn't think about it. With a heavy heart, I slipped him the wallet and photograph. As I did this, I gave a heavy sigh, not because of what I had just done, but in doing so, I realized that I didn't even remember her name. The two stood up, towering over me as a wave of guilt washed into my conscience. "You were a good John," the tall one began, patting me on the head softly, "and we really hope to see you again. You'll come by again and visit. You always do." I stood up, then paused. This was my first time here. I was sure of it. I shook my head, taking the guilt I now felt home, and as I opened the door to the alley, I found myself waking up in my bed as if I had spent the night here, at home, letting this disgusting indulgence remain a memory. Any guilt I had was replaced by euphoria this morning. Perhaps yesterday was something I needed after all. I fed my pet turtle and wrote down everything that had happened last night, April 12, 2020. I have dreams of the Clandestine Sisters, very good dreams. At the end of each one, they remind me that I'll be returning soon. I kind of want to. The thought of going back to that place disgusts me. I should hold myself to a higher standard. I'm a better man. I went once because I was curious, or at the edge of loneliness and trepidation, but I won't fall for that temptation again. I made one bad decision. I would not do it again. May 18th, 2012. I begin to feel better about my decision with the wallet over the last month. To be honest, I don't even really remember much about her. The one who gifted it to me, I don't think we dated for long. I couldn't remember where she was from, where we met, and I don't really remember what she looked like. I didn't even remember her name. I was sure this was a sign. I was ready to let go and begin looking to the future. I don't know what that future is or who it is, but I was ready. Last Saturday, I had my thumb smashed in a car door. My nail came out the next day. I don't know why I decided to write about this. I don't know. It's bandaged now and I'm fine. It's inconsequential, really. I find talking about stuff in my journal to be difficult. May 25th, 2012. Earlier tonight, I was walking down 15th after another excursion at the bar when I saw a sign in the alleyway. It said Dreamland. I wanted to ignore it, keep walking ahead, except a thought entered my head. I stopped on the sidewalk, looking around the empty midnight street. There were a few homeless people sleeping out on the side of the alleyway. Typical Denver. If I were to hypothetically go inside for a visit, nobody would notice. And if I were to, say, indulge a little, who would honestly care? The man at the front desk was dressed in a vintage suit, and he smiled when he saw me walk through the door. "As usual, sir, please enjoy yourself." I hadn't yet seen anyone else come through the door. For all I knew, I could have been their only customer. I decided I would ask a question that I had been curious of up until now. "How long do you stay open?" "Need I remind you again, we are open indefinitely," he said, smiling. Then he said something that caused me to turn my head and pause in the doorway. As I have told you last time, and the time before that. But I assure you, sir, you needn't worry yourself, for I anticipate you to ask me that again next time. For now, please, sir, let my girls take away your problems, and please pay them kindly. I put my hands in my pocket, pulling out my ID and cash, but he assured me that wasn't required here. You'll pay afterwards, sir, he said. I thought that was kind of strange. What kind of place required you to pay after? I headed in anyways, figuring not much of it. I walked through, and I was greeted by the Clandestine Sisters, who were waiting for me at the end of the hall with their arms outstretched. They had smiles on their faces, and their gorgeous dark eyes flickered in the dim light. I spent no time waiting and walked to greet them. "Welcome back," the tall one said, her soft voice echoing through the hall. "We missed you. You're our favorite. And, as usual, whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever you desire the most, you can have it." I made my way to the room on the far left. The room only had a single bed, dim purple light, and a small closet in the corner. The room was painted lazily with black walls and small flames painted along the tile and where the wall met. Music played low, and it was a song I didn't recognize. It sounded old, almost like a classical. It sounds similar to the music in the lobby. Odd music choice, but it was the least thing on my mind at the time. So, hypothetically, if I just wanted to sit here and talk, we could do that. Or if I wanted to, I don't know, just watch a movie. I realized I sounded lame, but I wanted to see what kind of answer they'd give. The taller of the sisters smiled, sitting on my lap, her hands gripping my shoulders firmly. "We both know that what you want is something more, unforgettable." The last word rolled off her tongue as she brought her mouth to mine. She wasn't wrong. Then, before I knew it, the act was done, and the method of payment was brought up. "It's our turn now," the tall one said. "Cash or card?" I joked, putting my hand in my pocket. The bandage of my right thumb was brushing on the edge of my pocket, and I tried to hurry to keep them from waiting. "Neither. We want something only you can provide. We want you." Their voice was deeper than usual, their dark eyes piercing in the dim light of the room. I looked in their eyes as they stood over me, their mouths pressed in a smooth smile, their dark pupils in contrast with the whites of their eyes. "I beg your pardon?" "We have enough of other people's stuff. It's not close to the real deal." I shook my head, putting the cash from my hand on the bed beside me. "What do you mean, you have enough of other people's stuff? What's going on?" They squealed in joy. "See why he's my favorite? He doesn't remember. He's so easy." "What are you talking about?" I asked. I was eyeing them closely, but they continued to stand over me, looking down. "Look, this is my first time in here, and I'm not looking to stay in here for long. I have cash. If that's not enough..." "You gave us your late wife's wallet," the tall one snickered. "Remember? And your grandfather's watch?" The shorter one laughed. "Wait. And your high school ring." "When?" "The week before you gave us your thumbnail." The shorter one giggled. And that was after your turtle went missing, isn't it? The room turned silent. I felt the color on my face drain completely. I looked at my bandaged thumb. The top of it was bloodied. I got that in an accident, and I've never had a turtle, and I dropped out of high school. I don't know who the hell you are or what you think you're doing, but I'm leaving, payment or not. At this, they both erupted into soft laughter, and I started to stand as their peering dark eyes watched me bolt to the door. We have so much of your life, but so little of you. How much of it do you even remember? Were your parents even married? Who told you about this place? Stop, I begged, trying my hardest to slide as far as I could from them. I never wanted this. The bolt on the door didn't budge. The giggling and squealing intensified, their unblinking eyes staring as I struggled with the door. Do you even know your own name? Please, I begged. What's your name? I can find all the money you'd ever want. I'll pay you. What is your name? Just please let me go. I sat against the door, thick tears coming down my face. I can't tell you why or how, but I tried. Every question they had asked me, I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I didn't know who I was. The two cornered me, their voices soft and relaxing, yet I was panicking on the inside. We don't want to hurt you. We just want something of yours. What? I spat out. You can have it. Whatever you want, please just take it and let me be. The shorter one pulled out a pair of pliers from behind her back, then held it out as if I was going to take those damn things. We want your left ring finger. I froze, sweat dripping down my face. No, I said, no, you're not serious. We are, she said. You just said that we can have whatever we want. Are you ready to become forgotten? My eyes darted between the two, who stood motionless with a calm, confident smile. If I do this, I can leave? That's it? You're not going to kill me? You're not going to follow me? Nothing? They nodded. But you'll come back. You always do. I grabbed the pliers. You're right. I'll be here tomorrow. Me and the entire damn State Department. You'll be spending decades in jail for this. I'll get everything back, and you'll never be able to hurt anyone ever again. I placed my fingers between the pliers, taking a deep breath and closing my eyes. That's when I had a vision, and the room was filled with screams, none of them mine. It was thousands, millions booming off the walls, and I heard chains, boiling water, cutting. I felt something grip where my thumbnail used to be, and I opened my eyes and threw the pliers across the room. I fell to the floor, panting. I can't, I sobbed. I can't. What the hell? I can't. The sisters were smiling faintly, their mouths exposing their perfect teeth. You just did. Did you see everyone? They saw you. They're beautiful, aren't they? You'll join them someday. I looked down at my left hand, at the 3 fingers and thumb, a pool of blood spurting from where my ring finger used to be. Oh shit, I spat out, tears rolling down my cheeks as a wave of pain exploded from my hand. I grabbed my wrist, pressing tightly as blood spurted from the end. How in the hell? I didn't! I didn't! The sisters giggled, taking my finger before I found myself back in my house, shaking in the corner of my room as the ceiling fan overhead caused thin shadows to dance along the wall. Before I knew it, I was waking up on the counter, writing down what I had remembered of that day prior, not remembering when or how I wrote this. I don't know whose journal this is. June 17, 2012. In this journal entry, pages were coated with drops of blood, making some of the words difficult to decipher at first glance. I need answers. I don't know why I'm missing so many things. I have memories of them all being accidents, but how could I do so much to myself? I don't know what. I don't know when. I have nightmares every night about this place at the end of the hallway. I have dreams filled with screaming and begging me to leave. 4 dark eyes beckon me every night, and I hear the same words over and over in my head. Whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever you desire the most, you can have it. I want answers. I need closure. I desire this nightmare to end. I didn't know where this place was or who was responsible for my current state. I just know that I needed to find out who these 2 figures were, what they were. So I started walking. I didn't know where I was headed. I found myself on 16th Street, then 14th Street, walking past people who looked at me and pointed and groaned. I tried to hide myself the best I could, tried to hide the full extent of my injuries. I couldn't find what I was looking for, but on my way back home, I came across this door in an alley that I hadn't seen before. Overhead, there was this sign. It said Dreamland. I hadn't ever seen or heard of this place before. I'm back home for now, writing in my journal. My journal is filled with entries I never wrote. Every time I try to read back, I no longer recognize the words, the names. It's like it doesn't register or there's something blocking my memory. For now, I will leave it at that and write what I see in this dreamland. I will find out what happened to me. That is all I want. That's the end of the journal entries. Coroner's report. Victim had died from extensive blood loss from removal of tongue. Victim had left ring finger and right thumbnail missing. Victim's left eye was missing. Victim was missing left ear. Toxology report. Blood alcohol content, 0. Toxins found in system, minimal. Spinal tap revealed no misuse of recreational drugs. THC levels, 0. End case file.